Say my name. Say it. Say it like you know my sin. Woke up to a world gone black. Every eye on my back. Every voice speaks in code, like they know what I don't. Hands clean but they don't care. Truth dies in the air. I can feel it closing in like a sickness on my skin. They don't want truth, they want a fake. Something easy they can replace. I feel it crawling under my skin. Tell me, where do I begin? Play devil's advocate for me now. Break their story, show me how. If I'm wrong, then let me see. But no one stands, no one speaks. Say my name like I'm the curse. Say it loud, make it worse. If I'm the monster they believe, then I'll be what they need. Every whisper feeds the flame. Every shadow knows my name. I don't recognize that man, but they swear I am what I am. Walls talk when I'm alone. Truth cracks in the tone. Every doubt starts to fade. Every lie feels like fate. No one's coming, no one fights. No one questions wrong or right. If I scream, it feeds the sound of a king without a crown. Play devil's advocate for me now. Tear it open, break it down. If there's truth, let it breathe, or just bury it with me. Say my name like I'm the curse. Drag me deep or make it worse. If I'm the monster they believe, then I'll be what they need. Say it, say it, say it again. Say it, say it, say it again. You want a villain, I can feel it. You need a reason, I'll be coming. You built the cage, I'm living in it. Now watch me wear it like I meant it. Say my name, say my name. Feed the fire, feed the flame. Say my name, say my name. Feed the fire. Don't play devil's advocate for me now. There's no truth left to be found. You made the shape, I'll fit inside. Let it live, let it ride. Say my name like I'm the curse. I am everything you've rehearsed. If I'm the monster that you believe, then I'll be what you need. Say my name. Say it again. Say it like you know my sin.
All right, welcome everyone into a Friday night. You know the word. It's Friday night. I've got Robin with me. We're going to break down yet another. I need to take the banner off, by the way, as I do my little speech right now. We're going to do another interview that's been obtained by Connor. He's been getting a lot of files lately. They're coming so fast and furious, but it's interesting because every time we watch one of these interviews, or listen to them mostly, I should say, because we don't really watch a whole lot, we pick up new nuances of, really, that's the person that they quoted left and right in the articles saying that everybody wanted Kohberger out of the school and whatever. Hearing it leaves a completely different feel. One thing I want to do before I bring Robin up is I want to deal with something that I've been criticized a lot for lately, and maybe people don't understand my channel and what I'm about, so I'm going to try to clarify something. I call myself the devil's advocate for a reason. I play devil's advocates with the mainstream media narrative. When one side is shaping a story, I counter. What if it isn't what you're telling a story? What if it wasn't that way? When you play devil's advocates, my job isn't to repeat the same story they've told you over and over and over again. Now, I have some people saying, I thought you were a neutral kind of guy. I thought you told both sides of the story. All you do is say that the main story is incorrect. That's what I do. I play devil's advocates with the mainstream media narrative. And there is a narrative being told in many cases, not just Idaho 4, in many cases. And what I've done my entire life is I find myself, when everyone seems to be pushing something and ignoring contradictory evidence because they're so dead set on telling a certain version, I immediately start going, well, fuck you. You're not telling the whole story. So I tell the other side of the story. And for some of you, that means I'm biased because all I'm telling is the other side of the story. My opinion is you've heard the main story from everyone on mainstream media. You've heard 30 different documentaries about how Brian Kohberger is a mass murderer and he did it because he said he did. You've read books about it. You've seen documentaries. You've seen mainstream media news coverage. They've covered it quite well. I don't need to tell you what you already have heard. I'm here to tell you what maybe they missed. Maybe it's not exactly like they said. That's the whole point of playing devil's advocates. If you don't understand that, I'm sorry. I am not here to be 100% neutral. Now, having said that, I want to make it clear, and I realize I'm on a long bender right now, but I want to make it clear. If I become convinced that the mainstream narrative was correct, I'll say, well, look, I played devil's advocates with this situation, and you're right. It is what you said it was. I don't have a problem saying that. I will be the kind of guy that says, you know what? I gave you the other side of this and you convinced me. The counter argument was weak. Now, I'm not saying it's my argument. I'm playing, look, it's a long-standing tradition to play devil's advocates. The person playing devil's advocates doesn't necessarily believe the position that they're fighting for. They're trying to give you a strong argument to make your argument stronger. Now, where I'm going with all of that is to say, that's my role. So for those recently who had told me, DA, what happened to you? You used to be neutral. No, I never was neutral. I played devil's advocates with mainstream narrative. That's what I do. However, I will tell you if we were wrong, if the other side was wrong. I'll let you know. So, all right, let's get Robin on stage. That was probably enough for me. What are you doing, Robin?
Well, I am here with everyone. I am ready for Friday night, you know whatery. And we're going to, I'm sure that this interview will be interesting. Last night's sure as heck was. So I'm sure this will be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it and glad to be here with everyone.
Yeah. And before you get into your monologue, I want to, because I know you've got a monologue from 1-1, I think, right? You did find it?
Yes. Yes, yeah. I did. Yep.
Before we get into that monologue, I want to point out, I had another discussion with somebody, and I even asked last night when I was countering all of the ridiculousness of a professor who says, oh, look, Kohberger was a stalker. He stalked everybody. We got together as a group of professors and wanted his ass out. We knew he would be a future killer. But then she admitted, well, it wasn't all of us. Some of us felt that way. It wasn't all of us. And it was clear that she had certain biases. At least it was clear to me.
Yeah.
But when I did that, I even asked somebody privately. I said, am I just always looking to make excuses for Kohberger? Like, and even this person who was talking to me said, no, this is what it is. people, especially like, let me break down the professor, for example. People love to say, oh, I always knew that was the case. So at the point that this professor did this interview, Bryan Kohberger was already identified as the lead suspect in a quadruple homicide. And people love to do that. I knew it. I always thought there was something wrong with that guy. Hindsight is 2020. This is why when you come to somebody after the fact to say, hey, did you ever see? Yes, I did. I totally saw that coming. We all want to convince ourselves that we saw it coming. If you find out your neighbor was a mass murderer, be like, you know what? I always thought that guy was creepy. It's what we do. Did you really, though? Or did you convince yourself that I couldn't have missed it? I couldn't have missed it. So I saw it coming. That is a thing about human nature. And so I think a lot of that has to do with that. I think there's even people who will vote for a president and not remember who they voted for because they'll be like, when the other president wins, the person they didn't vote on, they'll be like, yeah, I voted for him. They're like, you forgot. You didn't vote for him. You voted for the guy that lost. But in your mind, you're like, I can't be stupid and have voted for the wrong guy. I voted for the guy who won. It happens all the time. So anyways, I think a lot of that was happening there. So tonight we're going to listen to, from what I understand, Robin, and I'm going to let you do the monologue here in a second. We're going to listen to, I think it's Kiva Bloxom-Blis is the name. I think she was a student / staff member at WSU, a cohort of Bryan Kohberger, if you will. And the reason why this rose to our attention today when that came out is I understand Ann Taylor had this person on the list of people that she might call to the stand. Now, what does that mean? Keep in mind that in legal proceedings, people will often put names on there that may never actually end up in court. So you don't know that she would have testified. But it was somebody that Ann Taylor put on the list as possibly being in favor or having something that would help her client, Bryan Kohberger, at trial. So wouldn't it be interesting to hear an interview from somebody that Ann Taylor was maybe intending to put on the stand if the opportunity came up? And again, whether or not they would have testified or not would have depended probably where the court went, where the prosecution's case went, and then they might have brought this woman on to provide a counter. Maybe Bryan Kohberger didn't do this or didn't say this or wasn't like this because here's somebody that knew him and said that they never felt anything of that nature. So we don't know what we're going to see, but it rose to our curiosity, as you might say, when we heard that this person was going to be called by Ann Taylor potentially. So that's why we're going to listen to it. It's about an hour long. If I don't stop talking pretty soon, we'll never get through the hour. And so, Robin, why don't you give us one's monologue, and then we'll get right at her.
All right, I will do that. Is it good to be alive in the den on a Friday night?
I believe so.
Okay, and Jackson, Juliana, you know you are the apples of your daddy's eye. And Mrs. 11, you know how much he adores you. It's Friday night fuckery. The lights are low. The hour is late. Nothing is off limits. Tonight, we dig into the cases, controversies, creator drama, courtroom twists, and unanswered questions that everyone else seems afraid to touch. Expect sharp analysis, spirited debate, wild theories, and plenty of moments that leave us asking, what the hell is going on? As always, we follow the evidence, especially when it gets messy. Tonight, that evidence leads us to a name that has lingered quietly in the background of the Idaho 4 case. Kiva Bloxom-Blis. She wasn't a victim, a roommate, or a classmate. She worked in the graduate program office at Washington State University, where Bryan Kohberger served as a teaching assistant. In a January 2023 interview with Idaho State Police, Kiva described months of increasingly uncomfortable encounters with Kohberger. She said he lingered in the office for hours, stood uncomfortably close, cornered her in hallways, and made her feel watched. Her supervisors were concerned enough to warn her not to be alone with him, provide security escorts, and repeatedly counsel him about his behavior. Kiva never claimed Kohberger committed the murders. She simply described what it felt like to work around him before the world knew his name, a persistent feeling that something wasn't right. Tonight, We'll examine her interview, what it tells us, what it doesn't, and where it fits into the larger Idaho 4 investigation. The den is open. Let's follow the evidence. And with that, live from PA, it's Friday night.
Sweet. Holy crap. That was super short. I was expecting to have some time, go make a sandwich, you know.
Go make it.
So, and that part of the monologue didn't sound like she's going to say good things. She's going to say how creepy he was and how he stood around. By the way, I want to point out something again, to play devil's advocates with this position. This was another conversation I had privately with somebody who used to teach at a university. I think it was at a university, but she used to teach as a professor. And I know this to be true when I was there as well. When you're in a certain discipline, like criminology or agriculture or whatever, there are buildings on campus that are kind of designed for those classes. So if you're in criminology, you may go to the same building for most of your Crim J classes, right? You may go for most of your criminal justice classes will be in one building, just like you have a science building, you have a math building or whatever. And so when people say, well, no matter where I was at, that son of a bitch was right with me. Yes, if you're in the same fucking discipline as he is, you're going to see him in your same building all the time.
A lot.
Because you take the same classes. So yeah, he's going to be in your same building with you all the time. He walked from this building to this building with me. Yes, probably because he has the same classes you do because you're in the same discipline. So again, you can spin things to look like they really are much creepier than they are. Anyways, I just thought that was an interesting thing to point out. I was like, yes, I totally agree. There's like, you know, the music building, there's the science building where all the labs are at. And if you're in the same disciplines, you're going to end up in the same basic areas. That's not stalking. That's called, I have to go to the same class you do, or the same building you do, and so on.
Right.
Yeah. What I'm going to do tonight, by the way, and if we have any of our regulars, they're welcome to come up. We've got some regulars that we always will invite up if we see them on the thing. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the ISP, Idaho State Police document that's the report of this interview, why we play it. Because I found this is fun sometimes. That we've done it a couple times. Reading through what they wrote down versus what they actually said can be really interesting. Like, for example, long discussions about cocaine that never make it into the written report. Isn't it interesting when they talk for quite a while about cocaine and who the coke dealer is and who knows them, and none of that makes the written report? I find that super suspicious, but you wouldn't catch it if you didn't maybe compare them side by side. So that's what I'm going to kind of do. There's really nothing to watch on this interview. It's an audio only. I'll put it on screen for a moment here. Oops, hold on. Audio started right away. Oops. Holy crap. We got all kinds of... Stop it, Robin. Hold on. Let's do this again. Add this.
This is Detective.
So this is what the interview looks like. This is an interview again. I think it's Kiva Bloxom-Blis. I believe she's an undergrad student / staff member. We're going to hear her story about Kohberger as they interview her on January 10th. So again, well after Kohberger has been identified, well after he's been arrested and brought back to Idaho. And so keep that with a grain of salt. Again, people tend to, once you told somebody this is that person, then they have, oh yeah, I always felt that was some. That's the way human behavior works. So you have to keep in mind this interview is conducted after this person's well aware that Kohberger is the primary suspect and she has got classes with him. So we'll listen to what she says. Now, so this is all that you would see, and it goes for about an hour and 10 minutes, but we're going to put on screen, I believe, this, and hopefully we'll hear the sound when can I do this? Can I not do that? We did it before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Add to stage. I can't add it to stage because I have to remove this other thing, and if I remove that other thing, oh, you know how I did it? Oh, shit. Hold on.
Okay.
It's Friday night. It's Friday night. We're going to have a little bit.
We do it right.
All right. So there's the Idaho State Police report. We're going to read this as much as possible. You can see the massive redactions. So in between all the massive redactions in the audio and the massive redactions in the written report, hopefully we can kind of back and forth. And what I'll often do is I will highlight like this to kind of draw your attention to where I think we are in the interview that goes along with the notes. Hopefully they keep it kind of chronological, and we'll be able to have our best attempt to do this. All right. In the meantime, what I need to do is I need to go back in here real quick. Oops. Let's never show you my computer without, yeah, you don't want to see my computer. You might need therapy. Hold on. Okay. If I do this, I kid you not. Like, there's some stuff on my computer that I have trauma. I have trauma from people seeing things on my computer that they were not meant to see. All right, so let's do this. I'm gonna remove this again real quick. Stop screen share, and I'm gonna go screen share with sound. It's weird that I don't remember the sequence to make this work. So here's the interview, right? And if I play this, you should hear sound. Tell me if you do.
Yep.
Okay, so you hear sound, and now if I put this on screen and I hit
there you
play,
go.
I hit play on this.
This is Detective Brady Walker with
Can you hear it
Idaho
still?
State Police. I'm here with my partner,
Matt Heinley, the Idaho State Police.
The time by my timekeeping device is 3:04 p.m. Today is January 10th, and we're in the.
To make this easy, I'm sorry. To make this easier, I'm going to convert this to an OCR file so I can highlight shit and not have to like have it do weird shit all the time. So stand by. Take questions real quick, Robin, while I convert this. Recognize text in the file.
Who out there thinks that the professor last night really just kind of had some kind of an axe to grind with Koberger, maybe because he really, knows his stuff and she felt kind of threatened? Put a 1 in the chat if you feel that way, or a 2 in the chat if you want to cut her some slack.
Was she horrible or was she credible? Yeah.
I was reading some of her reviews. I think it was Rogue Knox had put in our Discord a link to her reviews, and her reviews, like almost verbatim, the people were saying the exact same thing. It was all, don't take her, she's horrible. All she wants to do is be the center of attention. She doesn't like it when you ask questions.
Wow.
She wants to be there to look like a fashion plate and all this other stuff. And it was all different users, like avatars and stuff. It wasn't all the same person, but it was so similar, their complaints about her.
Wow.
I must have read probably like 20 different reviews of her.
Were they written before she gave that interview, or?
Yeah. And it was like, don't take her. She's terrible. She's, so yeah.
That's the impression I got too. So
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right. We do have it working. So let's get at her. Here we go.
Yay.
With me here today.
Are we redacted still? Yep.
And could you spell your name, whole name and date of birth, please?
So we're at this section basically.
And then my birthday is
Perfect. Also present is. Can I get your name and birthday, please?
Okay.
So there's two people here.
Yeah.
So witness 1 and witness 2. There's 2 people being interviewed.
Perfect. All right, now that all the formal stuff is out of the way. How you said you're. Just tell me a little bit about you here.
Good Lord. Fuck. Oh my God, this is so unnecessary. I'm so tired of this shit. When they went to school, what their major is not a fucking secret.
No.
And
look at all this redaction.
This is how we're gonna start. Oh my God! Come on, dude. This is so annoying. I'm so tired of this. How could this? They're literally just covering when she went to school and what her major is.
Yeah. Why?
When was your first interaction with Brian?
I'm not sure about dates, but I know that it was around the beginning of the semester. Um, I don't know. I'm just gonna go off of my
Yeah.
interactions and kind of just
Sure.
go on about how things went.
Yeah.
So my first interaction with him, he came into the office. He was the new grad student, so most of them come in there to talk to, with help for. I don't know how to explain it. Just about going on with their career. Getting those little tips that they need, like classes and stuff like that, to arrange their schedules. So he would come in there a lot, and he introduced himself to me, and that was kind of it. And then, as the days went on, I would see him coming frequently, every single day in the office, and he would try to conversate with all of us while we were working, and that kind of became an issue. He was in there talking with Dan for 2 hours one day until we had to close, and kind of be okay, it's time to leave, we're closing the office. And it kind of just kept happening, him coming back and not really respecting that we were working. And so, we were trying to be nice to him, because it's not we're you can't be in here, you need
Sure.
to get out, but also respect that we're working, we can talk to you, but work conversations, he would come in there to just talk about random stuff, Pennsylvania, he was also from Pennsylvania, so they would talk about Pennsylvania, they would just talk about random.
So again, I need to ask. I don't know. Robin's muted, so hopefully she's still there. But
Yep,
okay,
I'm
yeah.
here.
So once again, the narrative that he's a loner and a social outcast, doesn't have any friends. Everyone keeps talking about how chatty he is. In fact, if anything, the opposite of being antisocial is he talks too much. They're trying to get work done and he wants to talk. So again, how do you simultaneously paint him as a loner loser with no friends who talks to everyone constantly and is always making friends and trying to make friends and do things? This is the kind of shit that makes me irritated, because they paint him as an isolated loser with no friends, but everyone talks about how chatty he is and how much if anything, he's overly chatty, and they're like, hey, I gotta get back to work. Yeah.
So, I mean, are they trying to say that he does that just because he has no outside friends? So he just kind of, I don't want to call it holds people hostage, but he just doesn't his social cue doesn't allow him to know when it's time to let people go. Is that what they're trying to say? But I don't call that being creepy, or I just call it someone who would like to discuss a topic. And but I don't associate that with any kind of serial killer behavior.
Real quick, by the way, Cats Mojo is saying, is this video from Lucy Sable? So keep in mind, I have people who grab these videos for us to play on these things, and I don't necessarily know for sure where they came from. I thought this one came from Connor, so if it didn't come from Connor, I apologize. Part of the problem of playing other people's stream, we just want to get to the raw data, and so not necessarily play other people's commentaries with that. So sometimes we grab them and archive them. So if I did misstated who the interview came from, please accept my apologies. I don't know, I guess, where this one came from. Anyways, let's keep going. Already I'm having a hard time following with the links, because she started talking about shit that's not in the report here. So I'm trying to figure out where the hell we are in the report, and it's already not matching up chronologically.
Yeah, it's
so
not
that's a problem. Last time it flowed pretty well. It's not flowing so well this time.
Things. And so it kind of just seemed kind of a little weird, he also was a TA, so he also should have been doing work too.
Mm-hmm.
But this situation kept happening a lot. And then I was closing up one day, and I was there alone. Sometimes Dan normally leaves at 5 with me, but sometimes she leaves early because so some days she works from home, and I'm there just by myself because Dee leaves at 3, and I'm there until 5. So some days I would be there by myself, and he would come in there and just talk to me, and I'm not a very rude or aggressive person, so I kind of just do I'm not going to tell you to leave, but like, get the hint kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like I'm not really paying attention, conversating with you. Like, you know, you're just kind of standing there. It's a little weird, but he would just still kind of stand there. And I don't know, one day I think I was like downstairs doing something, and then I came back up to lock up, and he was in there, and I was like, hey, you know, like I'm locking up, like, you know, like I'm gonna shut off all the lights, lock the door, like it's time to go. And then he was like, oh yeah, okay, and he started talking to me, and then as we were talking, like we were walking out of the building, and I was trying to leave to go home, and he was like, oh hey, there's like free coffee at the Cub tonight, like you want to get some coffee with me? And I was like, no, like I'm trying to go home, like my girl's here to pick me up. And then I just kind of walked away because I felt like there was nothing else to be said. Like I wasn't like rudely saying it, but just kind of like, that's a little uncomfortable, like that's not appropriate either, you know, like I'm your coworker, I'm also way younger than you, like, you know, it was just kind of weird.
What?
Yeah.
Come on. You mean coworkers do this all the time? Hey, you want to grab a drink? You want to grab a bite to eat? You know, and it
Right.
doesn't have to mean. Oh my god.
And I don't want to get.
I wasn't there, so I don't know how it came off. I wasn't there.
Right. So somebody tells me she'll also, the only thing I heard about this interview is she's also going to relate that a cute guy that she liked also invited her out for coffee, and she said yes to him. So this is one of those classic things of, if I don't find you attractive, it's sexual harassment. If I do find you attractive, it's not sexual harassment. But the statement is still the same. You want to go out for a coffee? That's sexual harassment if I don't find you attractive. If you are attractive, it's not sexual harassment. Yeah, let's go for a coffee. So it's one of those like really, really sketchy things, how just asking a girl out if you want to go ahead and get a coffee together, which may not have been even a dating thing. He might have just been like,
No.
hey, you know, let's go grab a coffee real quick. It might not have been anything about a date thing, but she's all like, that's completely inappropriate to ask me for a coffee. Some other guy does it. Oh yeah, I totally said yeah to that guy because he wanted a coffee.
Yeah,
And I'm like, yeah,
right. Yeah,
that
and it's
wasn't
not harassment then.
because I find that guy attractive. So anyway.
Like, no, and and that was the first kind of weird interaction that I had with him. And afterwards I told my bosses, and they like were like, whoa, like he should never be talking to you like that, like that's very inappropriate. And
What?
so they were like,
What?
you know, like we don't really want you alone with him anymore.
Why
What?
is that? That's
Universe
really
sent me
inappropriate. Well, he should never talk to you. Like, why? Two students.
Why?
I don't care if he is a little older than you. Why is it inappropriate? He should never be talking to you. No, that's inappropriate. He should never be talking to you. What is that? I don't understand what that is. Is there like a rule that says that once you get a certain outside of somebody's age range, it's no longer appropriate for you to even to mention? Like, I can't look at you. You're too old, too young for me to even talk to you. Like, it's inappropriate for me to even have a conversation with you because
That's
you're outside my age.
crazy.
That is nuts. All right, let's keep going.
More, like they also put up like all these precautions, which I thought was like very weird because I didn't really take it like a threat or anything, you know, like I was just like, you know, like he's just kind of trying to pursue me, and that's not really appropriate.
So it makes me wonder. So some professor tells her, oh, whoa, that's completely inappropriate, and wants to put up, and she's like, I didn't think it was threatening. I have to wonder, is the professor we're talking about the one we just listened to last night, the one is like, he's a creeper stalking girls and blah, blah, blah. Is that the professor that said, whoa, that's completely inappropriate?
Bingo.
Stalking girls. If that's the professor who told her, you need to watch that guy, he's a creeper. I don't know. Then we heard what she's all about, but
Yeah.
Well, they were like, you know, if you ever feel uncomfortable, like right away, they were like, you can always leave, like you're not forced to stay here, like we can have security officers like escort you out, like all these kinds of things. And I was just like, that seems a little extreme. Like I wasn't really saying like I was that concerned. I just wanted to let you.
yeah, she's not concerned, but the professors are bang, holy shit, you need an escort? This is, and look, when this gets to the media, it's girls asked the professors for escorts. Did that happen? Or did she just say, you know, it's kind of extreme. Like I just said, but you are saying, hey, if you need an escort, we'll give you an escort to your car and what? Like she's clearly saying, that seems a little extreme. I just mentioned he asked me for a coffee. I didn't realize, but it's the professors pushing this narrative of, do you need an escort to take you to your car? Anyways, it's interesting, but I just
noticed happening. But the fact they kind of reacted like that scared me a little bit because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But the fact they were so willing
See,
to go
yeah. They're the ones scaring students.
Yeah. She doesn't think it's a big deal, but the professors are acting like, oh my God, that just happened? That's totally inappropriate. Do you need help? Do you need to call somebody? Because you need help. That guy just asked you for a coffee. That kind of shit's not going to be tolerated here. Like, and she's like, what the hell's happening? Like, he just asked for a coffee.
Nurse Lisa said she went and had a drink with Professor Snyder.
That's completely
so she went and had, that's inappropriate.
Yeah, no. That's, Koberger, a fellow student, totally inappropriate. A professor, that's somehow completely appropriate. Is he her same age or is he a little older? I bet he's older.
Right.
But it's completely inappropriate if it's Koberger, because I didn't find the guy attractive, so it's inappropriate. So, yeah.
So, like, keep
Hi, Kathy.
Kind of worried me. And so it made me kind of question it a little bit more. And so they were like, we're going to have a talk with him because you're not the first, not the first person that he has been having problems with, like also with the grad students.
By the way,
so
the only thing I can say as far as, okay, so we're making a big deal about the professors reacting to this. And I agree. She said, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. He asked me out for a coffee. She did say, I thought that was inappropriate, but was that before or after the professors all told her how inappropriate it was for him to ask her out for a coffee? But it is worth noting that this event happened before Brian Koberger was identified as the suspect. So, because I mean, all of the people getting interviewed after the fact and saying, oh, did you ever see anything weird? Oh yeah, you know what? Now that he's been arrested for this homicide, but this event particular happened before he was identified. So that is something worth talking about. But
right. And what I would really love to know, and I hope that at some point we're able to see the actual, and if anybody out there knows where they are, we can see them, the complaints, like the official complaints. I would like to see exactly how they are worded. Are they worded that I was worried as a student, or are they saying like this young lady? The
professors were worried.
The professor were worried. And which professors were worried? Yeah.
I bet you that one professor we interviewed last night is top of the list of the professors that were worried. And she probably, I'm going to bet money, presented herself as we professors feel this way and probably spoke on behalf of other people. I wouldn't bet dollars to donuts that happened.
I agree.
But, hello, Kathy. Welcome. Good to see you today.
Hey, how's everyone?
Good.
All right.
Good.
How are you?
No, she's totally escalating this. I will tell you because a long time ago, I used to work in HR and specifically like in EEO when you would get a complaint. And this is like completely the opposite of how you'd handle it. You wouldn't handle it this way. She just said right here, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. You drop it then. Yeah.
Look, I can go into stories about HR and sexual harassment cases that are crazy, but this is going to be outside the realm of this. Let's get back to this. But yeah, you're right. I think she's escalating this. And I think more importantly, the professors were escalating what she thought was just hey, I didn't want to go for a coffee with him. And now it's all, oh, you need to walk to your car. Do you need to help? Because this guy's got a problem. Like what?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Just kind of made me a little bit more wary in the situation. And then like he would still come while I was there alone, and he would like stand behind my desk, like behind me while I was on the computer. Like, so I'm sitting right here, he's standing right behind me, like hovering over me. And, that made me feel uncomfortable because I was like, like, how can I tell him to move without like moving, like he's in my bubble. And so he honestly didn't move until another advisor came in, and I didn't even tell her anything, but like as soon as she came in, he kind of like walked away, like all fast, like he walked out. And that was kind of weird to me. Like, he was just standing there for so long, like, like, why is he gonna run out when someone comes? And then she was like, you know, if you're ever feeling like uncomfortable, I'm always here. Like, just send me a message on Teams. I'll come in. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. So just the fact that they could already kind of sense it, like without me saying anything.
Mhm.
All right. I need a female perspective from you guys on this. So this is what kind of bothers me. So if let's say he was somewhat attracted to her and kind of was seeing if they can become friends, and, you know, would that maybe lead to a dating kind of situation? How horrible is that? That most people who go to college, universities, are looking to find somebody as well. That's just typical college behavior. So that's not out of the normal. But and if he wants to try to get to know her, but he feels uncomfortable when somebody else comes around, and so he leaves, is that stalkerish behavior? Or is that just maybe somebody who's not super confident and is like, it would be embarrassed to think that maybe they're going to think I'm trying to hit on her or whatever? Like, I'm just trying to decide, like, is it sign of stalker behavior if you're talking to a girl and you're trying to test the waters to see if maybe there's something there, maybe we can go for a coffee, and then somebody else comes around and you're like, I don't want to do this in front of somebody, so I'm going to leave, kind of thing. Does that make you a sexual predator? Or is it just, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is your thought?
No, it's a thing that it would depend on how he's standing there.
Yeah.
If he's like literally breathing on her, that can be a problem.
Right.
I mean, you know, but if he was just kind of standing there, maybe he wanted to talk to her, but he didn't know what to say. And I'm not, again, I'm not trying to make excuses, and I wasn't there, but I mean, it made her uncomfortable enough that, you know, and if somebody else noticed it, okay, but that still does not mean that he would. I mean, was he stalking her like outside of work? Was he like purposely brushing up against her? Was it? I mean, you know, so this is where we need some more information, but I don't see anything yet that says stalker to me.
Not at all. And harassment, I mean, I used to, you know, in my past, represent employers in EEOC type of cases. Okay. And I know this is education, but somebody here said that she had worked for a certain company. Her husband then joined, or vice versa. One of them had to leave because it put it into a different type of dynamic. But there are historically two types of harassment: quid pro quo, which is something for something. Mm-hmm. You've got to be in a supervisory position, which is clearly not here. And then hostile environment. And for hostile environment, you got to have, posters in the workplace. You got to have the notes. You got to have the innuendos. How many people, like you just said, Lee, meet at college? Look at U of I. Look at the people that we've, through the Idaho 4. They all went to college together and they're dating each other. Yeah. If anyone who went to college, you couldn't date the colleges would be empty. They'd be empty.
Right. A lot of people meet their mate in college.
Right.
Yeah. So it just, and it's funny because I feel a certain amount of social awkwardness on it because I don't know how to talk to girls, and I never have. Like I've always been the kind of guy that's socially awkward about girls, but that doesn't make me a sexual predator or a killer or whatever. Like, so I don't understand how him trying to talk to somebody and trying to find a way to like get to know them makes him creepy. But that's probably how I came off as well. Like, I'm sure plenty of times I've probably come off creepy because I just don't know the etiquette. Like, I just never taught. I didn't go to man school to get how to approach a woman in 60 minutes or less. I don't know how to do that. So
let me ask you a rhetorical question. If guys approach girls, girls approach guys, girls approach girls, guys approach guys, depending on what your orientation is. If somebody says to you, Lee, I'm not interested, leave me alone, are you going to continue to pursue?
Fuck no.
Right. No. That's the difference. Right. So it's the same thing like with you use the example at the pool. The girl voluntarily gave her phone number to him. He texted her once. She did not respond. So I'm getting that type of a vibe from him that, well, maybe this is a little bit different because there's continued contact. But if I'm going to quote Judge Stephen J. Hippler right now, Stephen Hippler at one of the hearings last November said past behavior is an indicator of future performance. And that is very true because a leopard doesn't change their spots, right? So if he got the message one time that the girl wasn't interested when he texted her, I can't see him 1,000 times going back and leaning over her and sending notes and making her feel uncomfortable, nor has she said anything to that standard.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know if Troubled Ocean is right because we haven't heard it yet or not, but if he knew that she was into girls, would he be flirting with her to try to get a date if he knew? I don't know. But let's continue. But it's all food for thought because I'm thinking to myself, I have been socially awkward as well, but that certainly doesn't make me a sexual predator or a killer or anything like that. But anyways.
Also was the red flag, to me. And then I told my boss about it the next day, and they were like, that's more a concern on the confidentiality stuff that you have on your computer. Like, he's not allowed to look at that. You have too much information, on your computer. He's not allowed to look at your computer at all. And so that was even more of no, we need to talk to him. And they honestly probably had 5 overall talks with him about his behavior and how he was acting. And it was probably after the 3rd one that he finally stopped coming in the office as much to socialize, and I would see him just in the hallways. And
so again, to play both sides of this coin, if he got talked to multiple times about people are uncomfortable with him, then what would be, just like Kathy said, what would be the natural reaction? Well, I'm going to stop coming around then, I guess. If people don't like me being around, I'm going to stop coming around. A stalker might not give a fuck. I don't care. I'm fucking going to
stalker
next to me. Right? But so they talk to him about how, hey, people are a little uncomfortable with the way you hang out. And so what does he do? Stops coming around so much.
Right. I mean, he took that into consideration. And remember, this is before he was diagnosed. This is pre-diagnosis of autism. This may be part of because he didn't get diagnosed until last year. So right before change of plea, a couple months. So this is maybe standing too close. They don't have the social norms and mores that other people, they have to learn that. But you're rightly, it seems here we're seeing evidence that if he had been spoken to, then he just stopped going in. He didn't, like you said, somebody who was a harasser, who didn't care, would continue to say, hey, you're not going to tell me what to do. They don't care.
Right. Yeah. And at that point, a lot of stalkers will escalate and start, going to the person's home, following them, to their car. I mean, to a point that it's just blatant. Yeah. And he didn't do that here.
Well, look at, we saw an example with Professor Karen last night where he's sitting in his car listening to music, deep in thought. Maybe he's just, needing to take a breath. And she's going out of her way to, to try to make
Hey, Brian, don't you see me?
Do that again, Lee. Professor Karen.
Sorry. I have performance anxiety. I can't do the same thing. When
I love it. It's what makes this show great.
All right, let's get back to this.
I'd be just taking out the recycling and stuff, and he would corner me right there, and he would try to talk to me. He'd be like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm not gonna be mean to him, So I'm good, how are you? And he'd be good, and then I would just try to leave it at that, walk away now. And then he would be we need to talk about neuroscience sometime. And I was just yeah, walk away. I tried to limit it, but it seemed like he would try to force the conversations with me and corner me to where I couldn't go anywhere, And especially in the times I was alone, that's a little scary too. And I don't know. I remember one day I was locking up or getting ready to leave, picking up my backpack, and from the office, the window, you can see outside, and I seen him walking outside, but it was so weird. He made eye contact with me, and if you're just walking outside, you're not gonna be inside the building windows unless you're looking for something.
Robin's horrified.
It's so weird. I made direct eye.
That motherfucker made eye contact. Yeah. Oh, it's on. It's on. You made eye contact with me.
No, you can't make eye
I'm
contact.
reporting
You
you.
cannot.
Yeah, I'm reporting.
Avert
you.
your eyes. I mean,
That's
oh my
I
god.
Ridiculous.
love the snort. I love the
Yeah.
snort. All right, here we go. Let's get back at this.
Eye contact with him, and I don't know, like it just made my like heart kind of drop. Like for some weird reason, it just felt very weird. And then like I seen him walking up, and you know I'm like trying to walk out, so he's coming in as the time I'm coming out, and I like locked up. I kind of like, I don't know, like I didn't really think of it like this, but now that I'm like rethinking it, my body was kind of telling me like.
See, I'm right now. I'm having trauma. Right now, I'm reliving my whole life, and I'm like, how many women were running from me because, oh my god, that motherfucker's coming at me. He just looked at me, and now he's coming my way. I'm here all alone in this building, and that fucker's coming right at me. Like he's gonna rape me right now. I gotta get to the bathroom quickly. Like, how many times did that happen in my life, and I didn't realize? I'm a serial stalker, rapist, and I didn't realize it because women were panicking because I was coming their way after looking at them. I don't know.
It's like this. You know what I'm getting? 2 words here: set up. Set up.
Yeah.
Similar to possibly what happened in Idaho versus Koberger. You know, I just looked at an affidavit of Anthony Dallinger from the EWU case, and he's saying that there was no suspect as of December 29th, 2022, when Detective Brett Payne is saying under oath at a hearing that Koberger came on the radar December 19th. And then they started to do all of the, so it's like, do these people have it out for him?
Right.
You know, it just seems like this was an effort to get him out, and they wanted as much ammunition. And I keep hearing Professor Snyder's name, and I'm wondering if there's any relationship to Sergeant Canine Officer Snyder, 10 miles away across the border.
Yeah. You know, I want to see if that turns out to be true.
I gotta find that out.
All right, let's go back at it.
You know, like be careful, like, you know, like watch out. And I don't know, so I like peeked out, and like I seen him walking, and as soon as I saw him turn this way, I ran into the bathroom, and I hid in there for like a couple minutes until like, you know, like felt like, okay, you can leave now.
Now you can't walk on campus anymore.
I'm telling you, I'm literally wondering how many women have hidden from me because I walked near them and they had to hide from me. Like, I'm beginning to wonder, like, has this happened in my own life? Have women been terrified about me because I was in this same general area and had looked at them, and now they're hiding in a bathroom, trembling, waiting for me to leave because I'm creeping them out? I just wonder if that has happened.
I have guys make eye contact with me every freaking day at the grocery store.
Right?
They're not trying to jump my bones.
I try not. I'm not. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I'm super lonely. I wish people would make contact with me via eye contact or walk a football field away from me, but nobody does. I'm very lonely these days.
I mean, I'm standing in a grocery store line, the checkout line,
Right.
and I have people, you know, guys and girls that just start up a conversation. It's called being social. Oh my
Let's
God.
all hide from Lee. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's get back at this. I can give off creepy vibes, I'm sure, but let's get back at this.
All of the allegations came out, and you know, and then I rethought it, and that's my body telling me something's wrong, you know, and
My body telling me something's wrong.
You know,
How about your mind tell you something?
better in him, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Even conversations I've had with like the chair and the administrator and the graduate program coordinator, they all seemed very sketched out by his behavior. You know, like that's not kind of a normal way to react, a normal way to think. Like it was just kind of in his mindset, because even with the other problems that he had with the other graduate students, like he was very homophobic. I don't know if you've heard the stories about it, but she's also LGBTQ community, you know, and we all have ally stickers on the doors. And he complained about that. he complained about the little stickers all over the doors, and he actually like took it out on because she's, gay, and so she ended up putting all the pride stickers all over her door, and it turned into like this huge argument, but it was kind of him just like degrading female.
So I'm gonna get myself in big fucking trouble right now.
I'm gonna be right behind you.
Are you ready? So here's the thing. I don't give a fuck what somebody's sexual orientation is. I really don't. I'm not offended by homosexuality. I'm not offended by any of that. Not at all. But I did work in an environment where they had the ally sticker thing. And if you were supposed to put the sticker on your door. And I said, I'm not against anybody's choices in life, but I don't want to put a sticker on my door. But that gets you perceived as, well, then you must be against them. And I'm like, I can't stand the whole, you have to be all on board. And so if he complained about the stickers thing, and again, I'm getting myself in trouble, I realize this, but if he complained about the stickers thing, it doesn't necessarily mean he's homophobic, because again, I'm not homophobic. I don't give a fuck what people's sexual orientation is. I really don't. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to stick a sticker on my door. So I don't know. Like,
well, I wonder if there's also some sort of a policy regarding, okay, this is a place of education, and you know, you don't cover your whole door in an educational setting with heterosexual pride or I follow the Stanley Cup winners, whoever they are, or my team is that this is a place of education. You don't put that on your bedroom door at home, feel free, but maybe there is a policy against that, because otherwise you'd have people just coming. What are you going to start now? Painting the walls the color that you want. Oh, I don't like these white walls. I'm going to paint it black after the Rolling Stones. Oh, I don't like this furniture in here. I'm going to bring in different furniture. You can take it to an extreme.
Yeah, you're articulating it better than I did, because it's just a matter of like, maybe there's a policy, and believe me, if there's anybody who's a policy kind of guy, it's COVID, right? So it could have been complaining about how come we don't have stickers about this, or how come we don't have stickers about that? Why do we have to have, there's a lot of, again, I'm getting myself in such deep shit, but complaining because you have to have posters up on a race month doesn't mean that you're racist. It just means like, why do we have to advertise this or that? Like, maybe he wasn't homophobic at all, but I don't know.
Well, maybe he's going with Paul.
Go ahead, Robin. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, part of it may also be the fact that now with my ADHD, okay, and I'm I'm a lesbian, so I know very well, Lee, that you don't have any problem with my sexual orientation.
Right. If you did, you probably wouldn't be on the show.
Exactly. I'd say, screw you. No. But no, some people who are autistic or have ADHD or whatever, it can be a tactile thing. They don't like seeing stickers and crap all over windows and whatever. So it may not have mattered what the sticker was. Maybe it was just those kind of things. That's like me. I cannot stand shirt tags. Like shirt tags just bug the shit out of me. And so it could have been more so that than it had to do anything with the LGBTQ community. I don't know.
And by the way, I'm going to show my ignorance right now. And we will get back to the interview, but look, you guys are in for the long haul. This is going to take a while to get through this.
You know us by now.
Right. But here's the thing. I had somebody tell me, so this is difficult. Is it not true that colleges in general lean a little bit more liberal? But here's what I will tell you about, I went to school at WSU. Someone ripped me a new asshole telling me I'm an idiot because I don't know anything about this school or that community. And I'm like, I went to fucking school there and I live a couple hours away. I know that community. So they're telling me, you don't know. And yes, I do know. And here's the thing that's really weird. In Washington State, and it's the same way in Oregon State, half the state is liberal and half the state is conservative leaning. Now, of course, you always find people on both sides of the state. But the west side of the state, where the big cities are at, Portland in Oregon or Seattle in Washington, are more liberal. The more people you have, the more liberal of a population. The eastern side of the state, where WSU is at, is more conservative. It's more Republican. It's more church value. It's more conservative leaning. So while it's true, WSU is a college, and that makes them a little bit more liberal leaning. It's smack dab in the middle of conservative country. I mean, like, it's like Trump country in WSU. That whole half the state that we live on over here is super conservative. So I don't know where that plays into all this kind of thing, or where the hell my rant just went from. But somebody got under my skin when they told me I don't know anything about the area. And I'm like, I know exactly about the area. I went to school there. I've lived in both sides of the state over here, and I know about the politics over here. But anyways, we're getting off on a fucking tangent because it's Friday night and that's what I do. Are you guys ready to get back at it?
Yupper.
All right.
Degrading like other cultures, you know, like he's a male, he's white, like he's superior kind of like mentality. And so I don't know, like it was issues that they tried to talk to him, but they couldn't really fix because it was in his mindset. You know?
This is not going well for me. This is not going well for me.
He's a white male.
I know. I don't wake up every day and go, God damn it, I'm white and I'm male. Motherfucking, I roll the world. Yeah, I'm white and I'm male. Like, this idea that white males just sit around with cockswagger all day long. I'm a white male. Yeah.
You know what?
The fucking planet.
That was a sexist statement right there.
I know.
Switch the situation. Oh, she's a white female.
Right.
Yep.
It would never be tolerated.
No.
No, that's what I'm saying. Anyways, I'm going off the rails on a Friday night. This is not where I wanted this interview to go. All right.
And so, I don't know, but I also had times where my boss would take me home, like she would drive me home so I wouldn't have to ride the bus and walk by myself. Like every time she was there, she would walk with me outside and make sure like I got into the elevator safely. If I drove, you know, like it was just all these precautions that seemed a little weird, you know, like it's something that shouldn't really have to take place.
Who was the professor, I wonder?
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know. Is it the same one we just interviewed last? Is that her boss that would take her? I really want to know. I'm dying to know if that was her professor. I'm dying to know. Because you're right. That's the first thing I thought. Oh, yeah, I'll give you a ride home. That guy's a creeper. We got to watch out for you. Anyways.
You know, so that just kind of didn't sit right with me. And then, I don't know, like we also had the situation where I went home one day and the neighbor was like coming out. And so she was like, hey, I don't know if you've noticed, but last night, normally we leave like our kitchen light on, but last night it was off. And so I normally like look in the window and I see my reflection. So like I seen something out there and I thought it was just me until it started moving. And so she was like, I think like someone is like walking out back there, like trying to get in, like please make sure you lock all of your doors. And you know, like I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, okay, yeah, like we'll make sure to lock all of our doors, until later out his address got out and he lives like kind of right by me. So I don't know if like, you know,
so that made a Koberger.
I don't know if it was
right.
You know, but the fact
Suspect vehicle Koberger now walking around at WSU.
Oh my God. So there was a guy creeping around, and then I found out Koberger lived pretty near to me, so maybe it was him. Like, oh my God, the stretch you just made.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, as he just put this up, yeah, our nephew, he can't stand stickers. And that's why I was saying that. He's on the spectrum, and there's a lot of the tactile stuff. He hates stickers.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And you're right.
Our nephew.
Autistic people might actually be more as sensitive to the whole sticker issue, the whole
right.
Right. And they get weirded out about little things. Yeah.
My nephew has autism, and he refused when he was a kid. Wouldn't eat out of certain dishes that had a floral design in it.
Yep.
But I keep going back to, is this Koberger autistic traits, or is this Koberger a stickler for policy?
Yes,
I think it's a stickler for
policy.
Right?
Yeah.
What are you going to do next? You're going to take the door off and put a screen there?
Yeah. No, I think to go hand in hand, like his being a stickler for policy could be because he has a little bit of on the spectrum thing, but I don't know. All right, let's keep going.
he was so close kind of scares me too, because he was already trying to like target me in that kind of way. I don't know if that's just helpful information.
You have no proof of this.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna look
Yeah.
in the face or anything, but you know, it's not better said than not said, you know.
Sure.
Everything's helpful. Yeah.
So
If you think it's small, it doesn't matter to us. We want to hear it.
yeah, I don't know. And then after that, the department said that he was fired after winter break, and so that was kind of it. But that my last day of the semester, I actually had like a little coffee. I wouldn't call it a date because you know it's with the professor, but he just asked me. He's like, you know, like you're such a nice student.
Oh.
I love having you.
But it wasn't inappropriate, was it?
Wait, we gotta listen to this. You know, he's
Okay,
a
sorry.
professor, he's
Back that
older.
ass up, dude.
Yeah, you know, you're such a nice student. I'd really like to take you out for a coffee. Totally appropriate. Totally appropriate. But Koberger, a fellow student, that's fucking not appropriate. Dude, that's totally inappropriate. You asking me out. Professor asking me out, totally good.
You know, it was also inappropriate that they shared, you know, his status. Oh, he was fired. That's confidential.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Right. Absolutely. It should be confidential. But obviously, a professor's running their mouth to this woman about, oh yeah, we got rid of his ass. All right, let's go back and listen into her accepting a date with a college professor, which is completely acceptable. Not the student of hers, but this.
Yeah, the fact that she says, "Oh, it wasn't a date," makes me say it was.
Right, it was.
You know, why you got to put
wasn't
that
a
in
date
there
or anything. Neither was Koberger asking you out was a date. But this guy. All right, let's listen to what she says, and I'll try not to lose my shit.
I don't know. And then after that, the department said that he was fired after winter break, and so that was kind of it. But that my last day of the semester, I actually had like a little coffee. I wouldn't call it a date because you know it's with the professor, but he just asked me. He's like, you know, like you're such a nice student, like I love having you working here, like always seeing your bright smile, like always fills the office with like good energy. Like, you know, like I want to take you and buy you a coffee for your last day, you know, and we can have like a little talk.
Professor Mary Kay Letourneau.
You're so pretty and so good. I just want to take you for a coffee.
Oh, but it wasn't a date. Don't you know? ISP. Don't get that.
Like a pop. I want to take you for a coffee.
Oh,
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Anyways, fair enough.
Crazy shit.
Because Brian was his TA. Brian was his TA, and so he took coffee at the Cub. We just got some Starbucks.
So wow. So this professor who asks her out was Brian's. He was a TA for TA. Brian was a TA for this guy.
Confirmation of who
the
male. Yes, now we know who it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lee, for pointing that out.
Is it just me? Why is it inappropriate for Brian to suggest, hey, they're giving free coffee out at the Cub. You want to get a coffee? That was completely inappropriate. A professor who a professor says, you know, you're really such a nice girl. I really, really like you. I'd love to take you out for a coffee. That's totally appropriate.
Oh, and I love your pretty smile. I love having
your
you
pretty
here.
smile.
Oh, but it's not a date. It's not a date.
Not a date. I'm sorry, but anybody who offers me free coffee, I'd be like, let's go.
See, was the professor a white male? I do want to know that. I do want to know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I will confirm Robin's being pretty sure and may or may not have a relationship across the border. Still unconfirmed.
All right, let's go.
And we were talking, and he brought up like that they were having this last very bad meeting about Brian, you know, and he apologized to me for like the way that he was also treating me, and like he said that was not okay and like all this stuff. And then he said that like the things with him didn't look very good right now, like the meeting is going very bad. So it kind of signaled to me that like, you know, like maybe they're gonna fire him. Like, you know, 5 times talking to him should have been way too many, you know, like to try to fix the behavior. Like if they were so scared from.
And again, for the record, it is clear professors were having ongoing conversations about Kohberger, so that can't be ignored. I mean, it is something that's happening. They're having now. How much of it was pushed by one particular professor and their little group? And she admitted not all the professors were in the same agreement. They thought this was extreme, trying to ride this guy out of college because you think he's. But it is true. It's not a lie. It's not a fabrication. They were having conversations about Kohberger. So it's,
you know what wasn't brought up though? A certain professor within that group, very close to him, his immediate supervisor, taking out one of the alleged complaining parties, alleged victims for coffee and commenting on her appearance. One-on-one.
Notice none of that. None of this gets into the report about how she went out for coffee with one of her professors and stuff like that. None of that got into this report either, but yeah, because it would not be the narrative they're trying to push.
It wouldn't be, Lee. And it's also, I mean, she's saying he commented on her physical. She had a nice smile. He loved, inappropriate word for a professor to use with a student. You know, I appreciate love. That's like, we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. Why is all of this being
and I think the wording she uses, I would love to take you out for a coffee. That sounds like a date, doesn't it? I mean, again, I don't know how to work with women. So, but if I say I'd love to take you out, doesn't that sound like I'm asking you out on a date? Like, I don't know.
Well, it's also the fact that she herself, she qualified it. She said, no,
it wasn't a date or anything.
ISP, ISP Detective Walker, don't take this as a date. It's like the PCA. When Payne says, look left, I look right. It's sort of like she put that in there for a reason, Lee and Robin, in my opinion.
Yeah. The creepiness factor. Wording makes a difference. All right.
Yeah. Words matter.
We're never going to get through this interview. I can tell you that much.
At the very beginning, taking all these precautions, like why didn't they just remove him from the situation and instead of trying to work around everything, so.
And by the way, I said I'd never get through this, but this is the point. If the WSU lawsuit, the one that's the Gonzalez family and others Gonzalez et al. Against WSU about how they saw Brian Kohberger's problems and they didn't act quickly enough, I guarantee you this woman and that professor are going to be in court on that trial. If it goes to trial, these people will be in the courtroom talking to the jury to lay the argument out that Kohberger was a problem. They knew he was a problem. He was an ongoing thing. So for those paying attention at home, if we ever get to that point, keep in mind what they're saying today and what they present in the courtroom, because I bet you it changes when it gets to the courtroom. But anyways.
It just seems very weird, but at the same time, it's like the more I think about it, the more everything kind of falls into place too.
So I kept track, or tried to keep track a little bit of at least the interactions you mentioned where it started to get a little like uncomfortable or awkward, like past the intro when you guys first met at the start of the semester and stuff like that. So I'm asking just to guess or estimate here, because I know you don't like write these things down every day. How many interactions would you say you had with him that you would describe as uncomfortable, awkward, or like completely outside the context of what your work was? Like him standing behind you, that kind of thing.
Honestly, all of them, except for maybe the first time I ever talked to him, because I thought he also came in with another grad student, Sean.
Okay.
And so like they were both there, and so it didn't seem as weird talking to him because they were both just introducing themselves, and that was kind of it. But after that, that's when it started getting weird, and I can't even count how many interactions I had with him. Like I seen him almost every single day, and I was with him 40 days after all of this happened, and he was still at work and everything. And it got to a point where he would try to avoid the office, and I think it's because Dean made it very clear that like he was acting inappropriately and that like they didn't want him in there if he didn't need to be. So he definitely tried to stay clear of the office, but then
And again, that's the point we made earlier. So they talked to him about people feeling uncomfortable with them, so he stopped coming around as much.
Right.
Which is what you would expect to do if you're normal and someone says, hey, you're making people uncomfortable. Like, fine, I'm just not going to come around as much.
Lee, where's the ISP asking for details? I mean, it's one thing to say, he made me feel uncomfortable every time. Okay, talk to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Tell me about the first time. Tell me about the second time. Who, what, where, when, why? Where did it happen? What happened? What did you was there? What day? None of that. It's just,
No.
we're going to go to, he made me feel uncomfortable, and we're going to take that without any, and you know this ISP, they know about supporting details because they've asked about it before.
This shit makes me smile. Objection! Relevance! I agree. I agree. All right.
You know, when I would come and encounter him, he would like trap me, you know, like he would block me, so I couldn't really move anywhere. Like I was kind of just forced to like stand there and talk to him until I could be like, oh yeah, okay, gotta go. So it's not as rude. It doesn't seem like I'm trying to be rude to him, but just, you know, try to avoid it at all costs. And I mean, in my head, I never really thought like anything more of it. You know, I just thought he was trying to flirt with me or something, you know, I don't really know, but even that made me uncomfortable.
Sure.
You know, so I would honestly say all of them. And if I had to guesstimate how many times I actually interacted with him, I would probably say like 30.
Okay.
Like quite a bit, yeah.
And so just so as I'm sure you know, like things like this kind of live and die on details, and I preface everything with, I'm not asking to be exact, and I know your memory is not like going to be 100%, right? But you would typically see him, you said almost daily.
Yeah.
And that was, just so I have a right time frame here, the semester started about, is it end of August? Okay. So from then you saw him almost daily until when did it kind of start dropping off?
Until winter break, right before I left.
Until winter break.
Yeah.
Okay. And was this, and the reason these interactions would occur, the reason you guys would see each other is mostly due to you guys both working for the university?
Well, that's the reason we would be there.
Or the subterfuge, I guess you could say.
Yeah, but it was more of him like trying to,
it shifted,
like pursue a conversation with me, like, you know, like the conversations weren't really necessary.
Am I missing what she just said? So they're in the same area together all the time because they both work there, but then she tries to push it, well, he's trying to hit on me all the time and now he's trying to talk to me. Like, which one is it? Is he there all the time because he's trying to talk to you personally, or is it because you both work in the same area, in the same building?
You can't have it both ways.
She kind of went both. Yeah, well, she kind of went both ways in the same sentence. Well, yeah, he works here in the same thing, but it was like he was always trying to talk to me. So is he there because he works there or because he, I don't know.
Either. It was just the fact that he wanted to talk to me, kind of.
Okay. And when you,
and by the way, again, showing my creeper side, I kind of am a little sociable in some ways. I like to talk to people. When I work with people, I don't just sit there in fucking silence. I want to talk to people. I want to get to know my coworkers. I know that makes me a fucking serial killer stalker shit kind of thing, but I like to talk to the people I work with and hang around. Like I like to get to know people.
Hey, Lee, because you mentioned the WSU lawsuit a few minutes ago. WSU is going to fight this tooth and nail because count one is they're saying Title IX violations in the manner in which they handle these complaints. Do you think WSU wants their Title IX federal funding messed with? They have denied that they handled things improperly. So at least once, if and when that gets to be an issue, if it does get to trial, you're going to see them go after these people. And really, it's not going to be like, oh, okay, that's our bad. Okay, federal government, take away our Title IX money.
Yeah. And in fact, and Kathy, I don't know if you know the nuances of this. So if you don't, just let me know. But it seemed to me when the Gonzalez started the lawsuit against WSU, they kind of made a motion to say, we're following federal guidelines. So your problem's a federal problem because like all the guidelines, do you remember this part of the argument that they said, you know, you're trying to come after us like we should have stopped something, but we're following federal guidelines. So this isn't a Washington State University problem. Do you know what I'm talking about or not?
I think, are you talking about count one? Because the only
Maybe.
reason why we're in federal court with that case is count one, which is the federal count. Otherwise, this is completely state claims, wrongful unaliving. Is that what they're saying is they
I think so.
basically, what they're saying, Lee, and this is why WSU and the Attorney General is going to fight this tooth and nail. They're saying the manner in which you handled Professor Karen's complaints, this one's complaints, and the other, whoever the other 13 are or 11 are, you violated this federal law. And the only, which says that you need to offer your services in a gender neutral manner. It was passed it was an old law from 73. And it was initially passed because women were not allowed to play on, you know, on sports teams. They were segregated out of certain things historically considered to be male. So they passed Title IX. But now that what Gonzalez et al. Is saying is the manner in which we came to you, we complained about this guy. Forget about the foreseeability, you know, if anybody could foresee that something would happen that happened on the 13th, but they're saying you violated Title IX. And if they find out, if they agree, they could lose their funding, and they don't want to lose their funding from the federal government. They said they did everything properly with this investigation. So keep that in mind. It's not like WSU is going to lay down and say, oh, he looked at you from across the football field. Oh, wow, we really should have gotten in and done something about him.
Yeah. And last I looked at that lawsuit's like $500 million, like $400 and something million lawsuit. So they're not going to roll over on that shit and just take it in the ass as they
No. And you know, the thing is, the Attorney General of Washington won a major victory with the same judge. He, along with, I think it was 13 or 14 other attorney generals across the country, filed a lawsuit in federal court, same judge who's handling Gonzalez et al. It was over the feds taking away monies from the school pews that they were giving to guidance. He won that battle. It was like in December. And so I was really surprised that they didn't try to get this judge kicked off the case. So they're going to come, when it comes to money, they're going to fight tooth and nail to keep their Fed funding. I'm predicting that.
So real quick, I do want to answer this question. And I'm coming to the realization we're not going to finish, unfortunately, we're not going to finish this interview tonight because at the speed we're going, we still have 50 minutes left and we don't have that much time. I got a second show to do tonight on the Beyond channel, but we will probably resume it tomorrow night on Saturday night.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about this. The timing of this is confusing to me. And maybe you guys, maybe Amanda is really a document queen and timeline queen. So here's what I want to know. So technically, from what I remember, and this is memory, the university had decided to cut Bryan Kohberger's funding before he was arrested in Pennsylvania. The $1 million question for me that I don't, and supposedly they did that by sending a letter to him that said, hey, we're not going to renew your funding. That is what the essence of was he fired. His fired was, we're not going to continue to fund you as a TA. So that's kind of essentially, it's like, we're just not going to pay you anymore. But the $1 million question for me that I haven't been able to resolve is, was that letter sent before or after the 19th of December when Bryan Kohberger was officially on the radar by everybody? So Brett Payne said, we heard about Bryan Kohberger's name on the 19th. I believe they actually heard about Bryan Kohberger's name on the 5th. But under oath, he said, we didn't hear about him until the 19th. If the letter from WSU deciding not to renew his contract or whatever was sent after the 5th, that I would still have questions about, did they already know Kohberger was the tip? Or was it after the 19th, after they knew officially he was the tip? So maybe it did happen before the arrest, but did they already know he was the suspect? So that's the $1 million question.
I don't think that's been answered. I've never seen the letter. And then did he receive it? Because he's gone already, right? He left when?
Right.
On the 9th. Well, I thought he left on the 19th. No,
I mean, he left Pullman to do the cross country trip.
on the 15th or 14th or something like that.
Something
I think.
even
Yeah, I believe it was the
possibly earlier than
15th.
that.
15th, yeah. So yeah, that's the thing that the reason why I bring it up is technically when you ask the question, McCody, whatever how you pronounce the name, was he fired prior to his arrest? The simple answer is yes. The longer answer is though, did they already know Brian Koberger was a suspect before they sent the letter out?
Right.
I think that's the more interesting question.
Yeah.
All right.
You say, I was curious about when you were in the hall, I think it was when you were taking out the recycling and he kind of cornered you. When you say that, I just want to make sure you mean like he physically cornered you, like stood in a way that you couldn't really get by him without like having to like run into him or something.
Exactly. So it's not like I could have just like walked away.
Sure.
Like I felt like I was kind of forced to talk to him. And that's why I tried to be very like calm, you know, like doesn't need to be this huge conversation, you know, like you want to talk to me, ask how I am, like I'm good, okay, that's it. You know, now I'm gonna go back to what I was doing, kind of thing. You know, I would.
Yeah. So,
I don't know, because honestly, I don't know what would have happened.
If this is true, Whit James says he was still grading papers in Pennsylvania, so he left. If this is true, Whit James says he goes back to Pennsylvania and he's still working on grading papers. In his mind, he's still a TA and he's still got work and he's still grading students' papers while he's back at home at PA. And they fired him on the 19th. If that also is true, that's the date that Payne said officially they had got a tip from the FBI that Brian Koberger was the guy. And that was the first day officially. Again, I cry horseshit. Ann Taylor knew Brett Payne knew Koberger's name as a suspect before the 19th. That's why she called him out many times and said, she knew she had him in a perjury situation. She knew that he knew of Brian Koberger well before the 19th. But if the letter firing him came out of the 19th, then even in the best case scenario, he was already identified as the suspect when the university said, fucking fire him. Which makes you have to think, did they fire him to cover their ass? Because they knew he was going to be the lead suspect. He'd been identified as a lead suspect, and they quickly filed paperwork to say, oh, he was already out before. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, the timing is really, really important here.
Really good point. And if I could throw something into the mix. The 29th of November, 2 officers, Tiengo and Whitman, called in coincidentally within 30 minutes of each other, Mr. Koberger's car. Where were they from? WSU Law Enforcement. How big is that campus, Lee? Do you think that talk got around?
Yeah.
That we called in?
Yeah. Yes.
Good point.
I think his name was in the wind, which again makes me suspicious about the timing of the letter. And Don Capps was saying, I thought they fired him after his arrest. What did I miss? No, the official thing that came out in news reports was the university had already decided to fire him before he was arrested. That is their way of trying to say, we didn't fire him after he got identified. We already had a problem with him. It's because, again, it would look bad if they fired him only after he was a suspect. Because
the only thing, Lee, the only thing I've ever seen, and you know, you guys can correct me, is the letter that went to him from WSU after his arrest saying, you're not allowed on campus, do not trespass. This letter firing him from his TA position, saying they were taking his funding away, has never been seen. As far as I know, we don't know. We're going on mainstream media here.
Yes.
You know, why would you release the letter saying don't trespass, but you want to hide the letter that says we're taking your funding?
Okay, wait. So I got to jot a note. I'm jotting a note because we need a public records request on we need a public records request from WSU, the letter that was sent to Koberger, and get the actual date of when the letter was sent to Koberger.
And proof. You know what, Lee? Proof of delivery. Also, if it was sent, maybe it was sent certified mail to his apartment. He's not there. Was it sent certified mail plus CC via email? They should have proof of delivery. They'll know when he opened it up. That would be helpful too, I think, because they might have just sent it. They might have just sent it to certified mail, U.S. certified mail, or FedEx or something to his apartment. And he's gone. He didn't get it.
And the reason why we're spending so much time on it, by the way, is there was a narrative that was starting to be spun that Kohberger did the murders because he knew he was not going to be renewed. He was going to lose his funding. And therefore, when he lost his funding, he wouldn't be able to afford to continue going to grad school because he needed the money to pay for grad school. And so this whole narrative got spun that Kohberger may have committed the murders because he realized this whole world was collapsing around him. But that's a problem, because the murders were committed before they sent the letter terminating him. But they try to, again, mainstream media try to spin the knowledge that he knew it was coming. He knew he was going to get it fired. And I say, no. Contrary to that, every aspect of Brian Kohberger behavior suggests that he was planning on coming back after visiting his family and continuing on his education. He did not know he had been fired. He did not commit them, but I swear to God, like, I got the impression media was trying to spin that he may have committed the murders because his whole world was collapsing. He knew he had limited time left. He was on his way out. They were going to fire him from the school. And so he just kind of did this last minute, well, fuck it, I'm going to kill some people on the way out kind of thing. And that's what they try to spin.
Lee, okay, somebody here in chat's making a really great point, saying that that's an HR letter and they might not release it to you. However, maybe ask a non-HR related letter, dates that you sent correspondence to Mr. Kohberger, proof of dates, not from, just because, just to try to get them off of, trying to say, oh, sorry, we have an exemption here. We can't release HR. Although everybody here is talking about, they knew that he was fired. They all knew he was fired. Maybe just ask something that doesn't go to the content. I would like dates, a proof of dates of delivery of when you sent information to Mr. Kohberger from X date through X date, period, end.
Yeah. I just got sent information about his termination. Hold on a second. Let me take a peek. Well, I think we're going to probably not, well, we might do a little bit more, but again, we're not going to get through this interview tonight, but I got a Idaho stabbing student suspect's termination letter from WSU, mentions an altercation with professor. So let's read this together, because I feel like this is important. Again, the reason why we're spending time on it is the timing of the letter firing him matters. About, did they already know he was a suspect in the quadruple homicide? Idaho killing suspect Brian Kohberger was allegedly fired from his position as a teaching assistant, and the termination letter provided to News Nation. So again, you go to the HR won't give you the letter. Well, HR apparently gave the letter to fucking News Nation. So
how'd they get it? How'd they get it?
Right. How did they get it? So you're right. They might block me saying that's an HR matter, but HR decided to give it to News Nation apparently. So Kohberger, 28, a criminal justice student, is accused of killing blah, blah, blah. The termination letter, obtained exclusively by News Nation's Banfield, was dated
December 19th.
No
way.
The FBI told them he was a suspect. And immediately they drafted a letter and said, you're fucking fired. You're fucking fired.
Can you imagine? Here's a hypothetical conversation. Ring, ring, ring. Hello. Hi, Uncle Snyder. This is Ryan. You're not going to believe what happened today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is
wow.
This is crazy. The termination letter's dated the 19th, the date that the FBI identified Brian Kohberger as a tip of the person that committed the murders, and then immediately WSU files a letter and saying you're fucking fired. So when did all these other discussions come up with the professors deciding he's a problem and we need to get rid of him and all that kind of stuff?
You know what's crazy? I mean, they're not even trying to hide it. Like, they're not even, we should probably make this be like the 21st just to make that it's not the same day. How would we know? No, it's got to be the same day. It's got to be the 19th that they send the letter out.
Unbelievable. That's crazy to me. All right, let's continue to read this real quick while we have it on screen. So it continues to say, the letter references a September 2022 altercation, in quotes, between Kohberger and a professor. I bet you I know who that was, that he was supporting as a teaching assistant, as well as, so maybe not that one, because I don't know if he was their teaching assistant at the university subsequent to his improvement plan. The letter wrote, Mr. Kohberger, I'm writing this letter to formally inform you of the termination of your teaching assistantship with the Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology effective December 31st, reads the letter. in keeping with WSU graduate student handbook chapters, blah, 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 below is the list of the events that led to you being deficient in the following contingency clause of your funding, maintaining satisfactory progress and fulfilling assistantship service requirements and duties. So again, and here's some of those details. On September 23rd, you had an altercation with, let's read this. This is all good. On September 23rd, 2022, you had an altercation with a faculty that you support as a TA, Professor Snyder. I met with you on October 3rd to discuss norms of professional behavior. On October 31st, Snyder emailed about the ways in which you had failed to meet your expectations as a TA thus far this semester. As a result, on November 2nd, Graduate Director Willits and I met with you to discuss the improvement plan with which you agreed, and I shared with you in an email dated on November 3rd. So a Professor Snyder had a problem with Koberger, and they talked to him about it. We met again on December 7th, this time with Professor Snyder as well as Willits, and I discussed your progress on the improvement plan. While not perfect, we agreed that there was progress. On the 9th, there was another altercation with Professor Snyder, in which it became apparent that you had not made progress regarding professionalism, and about which I wrote to you on December 11th. We met on the 19th when I informed you of your termination as a TA for this.
Wait. How could they have met on the 19th if he's in Pennsylvania, unless this is like a Zoom meeting?
That's what I'm saying. Good catch. I was like, that's a fucking problem. Wait a minute. When did he leave fucking Pullman? He's
in Pennsylvania.
He's already
in Pennsylvania at this time.
Well, how did they meet with him? Did they meet over Zoom?
That would be the only way I would know that they could.
Hold on.
Hold the phone.
Lee smells a rat. I
smell bullshit. Hold on a second.
Bullshit.
Please hold on. Please confirm the date that Brian Koberger left Pullman, Washington with his father in December 2022 for PA. He left on December 12th. So they met with Koberger on the 19th. And look, to be fair, they could have met over Zoom. They could have met over Zoom.
They could have.
They didn't fucking meet in person.
You'd think that this would warrant a face-to-face. I mean, the guy's coming back. Supposedly. He's still enrolled in school at this point. Usually when you have like a termination meeting, it's done face-to-face. And I don't know why they had to hurry up and do it on the 19th. What else
Somebody
happened
tipped
on the
him off.
19th? What else happened on the 19th? I can't figure it out.
Tipped off the university that Brian Koberger was going to be the guy, and they quickly did some paperwork to fire him.
Yep. They wanted to get out ahead of it.
The real question is, did that professor that's writing this letter really meet with him on the 15th? Or no, the 19th. Did he meet with him on the 19th after he was already in Pennsylvania? When was the arrest?
The arrest was the early morning hours of December 30th, which still would have been the 20th. It would have been like 11 o'clock because there's a 3-hour difference. So in Pullman, in Moscow, it's 11 o'clock the 29th. It is, a difference of a couple of hours, 3 hours. No, wait a second. He was arrested. It was somewhere around 12:30. He met with Payne at 2. 30th morning, early morning.
I mean, so look, this is a discrepancy. Is the answer Brian Koberger did meet with them, but it was via Zoom and they just didn't mention that? Because he says, I met with you on what was it? The 15th? What was the date that he said he met with him?
Yeah,
the 15th. So Koberger
he already left.
Has already gone. Was he in transit on the 15th? Because remember, he took
Well,
that.
the 13th they were in Colorado, so they left on the 12th, and they were in Colorado, I think, on the 13th.
He got stuck. No, wait a second. Wait a second. Hang on. Hold the phone. The 15th is when the hit on, BLK took place. And that's where the 2 stops in Indiana happened. That was the 15th of December. How the heck are they meeting that day? He's driving.
Hold on.
Yeah. How are they meeting? He's driving with his dad.
And they're going to get sushi or whatever it is. What? Did they meet? Did they fly out to Indiana
joint?
and meet with him?
Oh, wait! Holy shit! You're totally right. The Indiana traffic stop was December 15th. So
Right.
WSU met with Koberger while he's driving in his car with his father?
2 stops. So what happened?
2 stops.
They drive, they get pulled over.
Hold on a second, officer. I got a meeting with my professor. Hold on a second. I gotta take care of this meeting. Fuck off. This whole thing is a lie. That's bullshit, right? It can't be. How does it not a lie? How did he meet with Koberger on the 15th? He's still getting stopped. He's getting stopped 2 stops on the 15th. He's still driving across the country. How did they meet together?
And remember, this is all the 15th. Okay. So they met on the 15th, the day of the BLK hit over at nearby, the coffee apartments. That was the 15th. And then Koberger is in Indiana with his dad. They stop one time. They stop a second time. And then they're off to go get sushi. What? Did they fly out to the sushi restaurant in Indiana like Detective Sergeant Gilbertson did? Fly out to Pennsylvania to talk to Koberger? I smell a rat here. This doesn't make sense to me, Lee. I'm sorry.
No. And look at Jill. She said he was grading papers while driving and still communicating with students on the 15th.
Oh. So we got something wrong.
Okay.
Because we met on the 19th. We met on the 19th to discuss your termination. So he would have been in Pennsylvania. So
wasn't there something on the 15th here? Wasn't there something on the 15th here? Or no. Okay. So he doesn't have anything on the 15th.
So we
met on this, but still he's out.
Okay. So back to it could theoretically be that he met with him over Zoom from Pennsylvania on the 19th. Yeah.
Possibly. The only in-person way that this would have to happen is Koberger would have had to fly back.
Yeah, it didn't happen in person.
Fly out.
Yeah, it didn't happen in person. I can guarantee you about that. Anyways, continue. We got to continue with this article. Speaking with Ashley Banfield, former FBI agent Jennifer Collendaffer said the details outlined in the letter indicate that Koberger had known something could be going awry with his position in the months leading. See, this is where I told you they were layering the narrative that he knew he was going to get fired, which is part of the reason why he committed the murders. Things were going shitty. He knew he was going to get fired. He knew for months that he was going to get fired. It would not be, it would not answer why a suspect might commit a crime, Coffin-Daffer said, but it would explain why he chose this time to do it. So he was out of time. His job was going to, that's the argument. He was going to lose his teaching assistant funding in December 31. And so he had to commit, if he's going to commit murders, he's going to have to do it pretty soon because his job is over. And he knew this. And that's what led him to do the murders when he did it. Losing a job, potentially losing your income, the embarrassment of losing your position, maybe even having your dream of being a PhD in jeopardy. These would all be triggering factors to propel you into doing something this heinous. See, look, they're literally telling you the motive for murder is he was humiliated by being fired by the university. So he's been triggered into committing a heinous crime because he's humiliated by his firing. This is why I told you that I was convinced they wanted you to believe that this is the reason why he committed the murders. He was losing his teaching assistants and he knew it. So he was going to kill somebody. But yet he didn't get the letter of being formally cut from the program. And in fact, hold on. They said right here, after the murders, after the murders on December 7th, they said that we discussed your improvement plan, and while not perfect, we agreed there was progress being made.
See, right there.
So he didn't
right.
think he was being fired. There was progress being made. He was still on the line for thinking he would be teaching as a teacher's assistant. So that's bullshit to me. But
usually with a PIP, this is a performance improvement plan. You're given a little bit of time.
Right.
How can you change your behavior, your performance in like a matter of a couple of days or week? So they're saying here, yes, we met on the 7th, this time with Professor Snyder as well as Willits, to discuss your progress. While not perfect, we agreed. So there is some forward movement here. Now, something happened.
Well, they did say that the second, November 2nd, is when he was essentially put on a PIP, the performance improvement plan, right? We met on the 2nd and we discussed an improvement plan. So that's when he was put on a PIP. And then December 7th, they did a status report and said, it's not perfect, but you're making improvements. So he certainly wasn't necessarily on. They're not telling him he's on his way out. He's like, hey, you're not nailing it perfectly, but you're making improvements. So this is a step in the right direction. That's not terminating him.
It looks like
12 days he's fired.
It looks like the only because look, the 7th. This is normal. Unless there's something that egregiously happens, you give the person a little bit of time. Okay, a month sounds right. You go on the PIP, then we meet a month later to discuss your progress. Now, because something happened 48 hours later, it looks like whatever happened on the 9th is what caused the termination.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
There's nothing else here. It's not saying on the 9th, and then we spoke with you on the 10th, and then we spoke with you on the 11th, and then we spoke with you, as you're getting ready to leave for Pennsylvania on the 12th. It's whatever happened on the 9th caused the termination. I want to know what happened on the 9th with Professor Uncle Snyder.
Yeah, right, under Uncle Snyder. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, we may have made a little bit more out of it than it should have. So he's put on a PIP on the 2nd. On December 7th, they're saying he's doing okay. But then 2 days later, he's back at having another altercation with Snyder. And so on the 19th, he was told he was going to be terminated. But again, that being told you're being terminated can't be the trigger for the murders, because the murders already happened. So
exactly.
I'm also curious how the December 19th meeting happened if he was already in Pennsylvania. So was it?
Could we also throw in another item in the mix? When did this coffee date with the student happen with possibly Professor Snyder? Was it around this time?
Wait a minute. I see where it's funny. I didn't make the connection until you just said it. But Brian Koberger was the TA for the professor who asked out this girl that we've been listening to.
Right.
Not asked out, because it wasn't a date. He was just saying, you're super pretty and I'd like to take you out for coffee.
Oh no, it wasn't a date. It
wasn't a date. It was just you're super pretty and cute and I would like to take you out for coffee, but not a date. But anyways, that professor is the professor that was Brian Koberger's professor that he was TAing for. So is that the professor? And look, and why wouldn't it be? Because he's the one telling her, it's really inappropriate what Brian Koberger did to you. You shouldn't have to go through that kind of thing. This is a professor who has a problem with Koberger, and then warming up to this girl that he wants to take out for coffee, saying, you know what, you shouldn't have to go. That was horrible what happened. Let me take you out for coffee. We'll make this all better, kind of thing. Like,
do we know when
there's a big connection here?
Lee, do we know when that coffee date happened from this interview, or is she just basically throwing it out with? And of course, ISP doesn't ask the information because it doesn't fit their narrative.
Yeah, I think Kopeka was killed on the 15th. I think
15th for sure. Same time. Remember the Indiana stops, and then the father's talking about.
Yeah, right. That was the Indiana stop where he says, "Hey, we just heard about a shooting on campus, and this guy got shot, and blah blah blah." Yeah, so
but Lee, nothing here is connected. This is all wild coincidences that just happening at this is why the timeline is so important.
Yes, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, there's something.
Hang on.
There's something weird here.
She's saying here, what James is saying, I don't think she ever stated a date, but it was before the winter break.
Yes, she did say it was before winter break. That's right.
So that winter break started when? When did winter break start for them?
Well, I'm assuming it was for the 12th, because that's when they left Pullman with his dad. So When was when? How about I just ask? How about I just ask my friendly assistant?
Let's ask our friendly assistant. When was winter break? Because she's saying this coffee. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't a date. This coffee get together happened before winter break. Then we will know when this confrontation, how many days between this confrontation, allegedly between Professor Snyder and Kohberger, relative to when this coffee event happened.
This is interesting. This is interesting. So winter break started officially December 17th, the day after finals. Final exams were due in December, the fall of 2022, between December 12th and the 16th, and the last day of finals were the 16th. So winter break effectively started on the 17th. Now, again, if you don't have finals to take, your winter break gets to start a little earlier. But the officially winter break started after the last day of finals, which was on the 16th of December.
So this coffee date, let's think this out logically, unlike mainstream media. Winter break is December 17th. So this coffee date or whatever had to happen before the 17th of December, not after.
Correct. It would have to happen before the 17th.
Okay. And this meeting with, and the time that there was supposedly a confrontation between Kohberger and Snyder was when again?
Let me see if I can pull that up. Shit. Now I can't pull it up easy. Probably because it's in a different browser. There it is. Okay, here we go. So what are we looking at? What date are you looking for?
What date? Okay, where was, because this is what triggered the termination right here. Looking at this, December 9th, there was another altercation with Snyder. So on or before, there was an altercation with Snyder allegedly on the 9th. There was this coffee, whatever, get together, you want a date, whatever, on or before the 17th. And then we met on the 19th where I told you you're fired as a TA.
So the December 11th, so December 9th is when there was another altercation, and December 11th is when they addressed it. The 12th is when, no, the 17th is when the break, no, what did I say? The 12th or the 17th is when the break started?
The 17th of December, 17th. Sir. Mm-hmm. So
By
all of this is happening at the same time.
By the way, my wife just joined backstage, and she should hear that if I ever say to a woman, "Hey, you're really pretty, and I'd like to take you out for coffee," that is not asking a girl out for a date. By the way, I mean, it's official. I mean, if I ever say, "Hey, look, you're really pretty, and I'd like to take you out for a date," that's not.
I like your bubbly personality. I like having you around here. No,
what happened to you? What happened to you was horrible. I really feel bad about it. Let me take you out for a date. Let me take you out for a coffee. That is not a date.
And I took care of the problem.
Oh, Rhonda says that's bullshit. Even she agrees that's bullshit. Huh?
Yep.
Go figure. Anyways, what? So let's. What? Rhonda says you're gonna kick my butt. Look, it was just a coffee. It was just a coffee. So I told you we weren't going to get through the whole interview. I feel like we kind of went off the rails a little bit, but you're right. The $1 million question for me really stands to when exactly did they write the termination letter for Kohberger? I find it weird that they say we met on the 19th. And I told you are terminated, but he was already in Pennsylvania. Now, that doesn't rule out the possibility that they met over a phone or they met over Zoom or whatever. So that is possible. But I would like to just
usually you put in there, we had a virtual, we had a telephone call.
Right. You usually stipulate that. Yeah. Like
something. And the other important detail, I would argue, is when did Snyder meet with this young woman? Because he's the one, the way that I'm reading this article without seeing the letter or any of the background, Lee, having worked in HR, the key event that happened that got him terminated, allegedly, was this altercation with Snyder after he seemed like there was some progress. So we got to find out what happened with Snyder and when this coffee date with this girl happened.
Look at this. Hank Green's wife said Dr. Snyder is old enough to be Corporal Snyder's dad.
Might be an
Could be an uncle. Could be, yeah.
Wait a minute.
See?
Wait a minute. No, don't.
Wait a
don't,
minute.
don't.
Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Stand by. Hold on.
Going down the rabbit hole.
How much information do we have about Snyder, the MPD's date of birth or whatever?
Ryan Snyder, Corporal Ryan Snyder.
Okay, hold on. I got public records requests. Hold on. I'm gonna see what his dad is. Search public records. Tell me I still have an active thing.
Could you imagine if he comes up with,
Yeah.
if Lee comes up with a picture at Thanksgiving in 2022 with Professor Snyder, Professor Snyder's wife, the mother, and Ryan sitting at Thanksgiving. Ryan Snyder is a little boy at Christmas getting his sled.
I got to log in. Hold on a second.
Speculation here, guys.
Stand by. Oh shit! I'm having problems with login. Rhonda, you have access to it. Do you still have access to searchpublicrecords.com? And if so, can you look up? Can you give me that name? Is Ryan Snyder? Do we have a date of birth on him or not? From
No.
Moscow, Idaho. We're curious who his dad is, and do we know who Professor Snyder's first name is? Dr. Snyder.
I do not know.
Let's see. Somebody help us out. We're doing a live dive. We got about 4 minutes.
Yep.
Somebody find out who Professor Snyder is. I'm going to step away for just a moment because
Professor Snyder first name.
John Snyder.
Let me see.
Yeah, John Snyder.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, John Snyder, Department of Criminal Justice. Let's take a look
Yep.
and see what he looks like here.
He's an adjunct professor, 30-year law practice.
Oh, went to University of Idaho, 1988 graduate. See if they give any.
I got a picture of him, but
No personal details. Sometimes they'll say he's married, blah, blah, blah. Okay,
Yeah,
he's got a 30-year law practice, so he's up there. Graduate of the University of Idaho, 1988. Okay, Corporal Ryan Snyder.
All right, what have we got? Why can't I figure out my login?
His name's John Snyder. He graduated the University of Idaho in 1988. And he had a 30-year legal career. It looks like he went to law school and worked in the law as well.
So wait a minute. So what is it is getting more and more likely. If Corporal Snyder's dad is a professor who went to U of I and was in law enforcement, wouldn't it make sense that his son was? I'm not saying it is true, but your hunch, apparently, I thought at first you were like, you're just pulling a rabbit out of a hat, but like now it's starting to look a lot more serious. Hold on. And what would that, I can't even process it all. Let's first prove if that's the case or not before we jump to what that possibly could mean.
Well, let's think this out.
Did Rhonda come up? I was away for a second. Did Rhonda answer about the search public records in the chat or not?
Let me see. The two cops that turned in the Kohberger car, very, very interestingly, within 30 minutes, were WSU law enforcement standing outside of the Steptoe apartments, apparently. And the professor that seemed to have a problem with Kohberger is Professor John Snyder. The 19th is when he's basically terminated, the day that the Moscow Police Department, 10 miles across the way, gets the information regarding. You don't think that spread like wildfire throughout the MPD, this 35 cop team? This is at New York City. It's not Tokyo that would have hundreds of officers. This is a really small, probably spread like wildfire. Hey, we got our guy. And he's at WSU. Oh, dad, uncle?
That's what I'm trying to find to see.
Yeah, I'm looking too.
All right, hold on. I just got into my search public records thing. So I don't know what Rhonda's probably like working on it, but I just got into it. So hold on. Ryan Snyder, you said?
It's Corporal Ryan Snyder, yes.
Snyder. And we're going to go Moscow, Idaho. And do we know his approximate age right now? Approximate 30 something?
He's in his 30s, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, nothing? First and last name, I got that. State. Oh, I didn't get the state. Idaho, not Iowa. 0 matches. So he's not in search public records? That's weird.
Okay, well, what about John? Let's see if we can do it the other way around.
And yeah.
I'm looking too.
So he's going to be in his 50s or 40s?
I would say at least 60s.
You think so? Oh, there's a lot of John Snyders from Moscow, Idaho.
No, wouldn't he be over in Washington?
Well, but they also have addresses in Washington. You said he went to U of I, so I was searching.
Yeah, he went to U of I, but that was back in 1988. I think in the WSU records, he's listed as a witness.
Yeah, right.
He's listed in the city of Moscow.
Who? John?
No, Ryan.
Oh, okay.
But I'm trying to find if
you think is Ryan 47? Is Ryan 47?
I don't think so. I don't think he's that old.
No, I don't think he's that old. I think he's in his 30s.
Because there's a Ryan. There's no Ryan in Moscow, Idaho, in the 30s, but there is one at age 47. All right. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't get the answer, but it was a rabbit hole worth chasing. Maybe we'll continue to chase it down because it's super interesting. Yeah, good luck looking for any person named John. There's a million people named John.
Right.
Yeah. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. All right, look, that's probably a good thing for tonight. We'll continue on with this interview tomorrow. I know that the people who come to this show regularly do come here for the commentary. Other people are like, what the fuck? Can you just play the thing and not talk? No, this is a commentary show. This is what we do. I sent his Facebook, Lee. Hold on.
Well, the other thing too, if I could jump in, having looked at these documents as closely as I have over the past 4 years, this is where the information that puts the case together is. It requires looking at the documents to pull out a key needle in the haystack, just like the discovery was. So I think what you're doing here is a big public service, in terms of trying to figure out what really happened in those days, weeks, and months up to and shortly thereafter the crimes.
So Kathy, it may or may not be a problem, but according to Amanda, the only son listed on John who's the professor at WSU, Snyder, is Matt. So there's no.
Could there
Ryan.
be an uncle? Could he be an uncle?
Yeah, I mean they may be related, but maybe not a son. But anyways, listen, for those people who want to continue this interview, that'll be tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will start this up again. We will continue the interview of Kiva. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Kiva Bloxom-Blis or something like that.
Yeah.
Bloxom-Blis.
Yeah.
And then in about 44 minutes or 54 minutes, we'll do the Devil's Advocates Beyond. If you want to listen to some crazy stuff, we'll delve into Sasquatches, Bigfoot, that kind of paranormal kind of stuff on the Beyond show as we wind down a Friday night. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Robin. Miss 11. Miss him on the show. Amanda, Essie, our mods that are helping out. Thank you for all the work you do. You guys do great work.
And Denarius.
Rhonda, just kidding about the asking a girl out for coffee, because obviously that would not be, we all know that that's not appropriate, but not this girl. She doesn't know it's not appropriate, but I know it's not appropriate. So.
Lee, if I could just add one thing, this interview right here is important, not just to Idaho versus Koberger versus Idaho, but also Gonzalez versus Washington State University. So well done. Thank you very much for inviting me and for
Yeah.
allowing me to be on the show. I appreciate it. Good night
Always a
to
We
pleasure.
love
everybody.
having you.
Love you
always a
guys.
pleasure.
Bye.
Take it
Good
easy, everybody.
night.